Fairy Tail 337. Viewer comments. Okay, kind of an anticlimactic chapter, but people have different takes on it. So let's go ahead and hear them. Okay, KH Mixer X. Why can't Kishi do this in Naruto? I would love to get 3 chapters at once. As for the next 2 weeks of Fairy Tail, I'm guessing there'll be throwaway chapters, almost like filler episodes of the show. Like it or not, this chapter tied a pretty neat bow on the dragon conflict. These next 6 chapters will be the cushioning between arcs that usually happens from time to time. The best part about it is that we'll get to see all the characters we love in pure interaction mode. For me, I've always loved FT for the character interactions, and the filler chapters episodes are where they shine through the most. Well, yeah, we're getting 6 chapters in 2 weeks, which is pretty awesome. I really don't know what to expect. People have already laid out, as you will read from other people, the formula, this will happen and that. But I mean, how enjoyable is it going to be? And as you mentioned, like it or not, things, okay, they were wrapped up. You could say, well, because the gate's gone, then everybody problems disappeared, and this. But all the build-up and all the stuff that happened before it, and then this, it's just anticlimactic, not very satisfying. When we actually got to the end of it. So I don't know. I'm glad you enjoy it. It was from this last one was just like, well, I guess the last 2 chapters were kind of like, what the heck? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like I said, this one didn't make me angry. I'm just still kind of confused. It's like someone went by and I'm like, what was that? But anyway, I appreciate your comments. And now this is all about your comments, and we get different perspectives from different people and learn some stuff along the way. Okay, and rewind the fast forward. I feel as though the whole time travel concept was just too mind-boggling. And I don't understand how the people from the future disappeared just because the door was destroyed. If they already traveled back in time, the future Lucy... Okay, let me just stop here. I don't understand it. I completely gave it up. Like I say, I saw, he's like, well, this went here. And then it looks like once you get in someone else's timeline, you stay there. So, yeah, I don't understand the time travel. I'm sure people go, well, it's because everything is linked to the gates, and once the gates go... okay, so I don't understand it then. But, I understand, you continue on, rewind and fast forward continues on. I understand how the people from the future disappeared just because the door was destroyed if they already traveled back in time, which is agreeing with you with. The future Lucy world was on its own timeline. It was the same timeline. The future road wouldn't be powerful since all 10,000 dragons did not come through. The door is as planned. Oh, I don't know. It was a great chapter anyway. It was amazing for doing 6 chapters in the next 2 weeks. It could be amazing. I mean, this is the thing with Hero, is when he's good, he's really good. For me, it's just been blasé, but so this could be the 6 best chapters we've seen out of him. Hey, that's the way this guy operates. That's how he could do that. But anyway, I really do appreciate your comments. Okay, NW Order for Life. Yeah, this series is all about happy endings and true friendship triumphs over all, aka Nakama power. The latest chapter came as quite a shock in how fast the entire arc was over. I read the chapter and was like, huh, that's it? That was way too fast. 3 chapters next week. I predict 2 of them are transitional chapters, and I'd like to see Gray and Juvia's chapter. Let Gray decide on how he feels about her. Otherwise, I really don't have anything I'm interested in. What is there to talk about? Well, there's a lot of things to talk about. Gray and Juvia, as you know, I've mentioned, I am so not... I thought that had so much potential in the beginning, and then a long time ago just completely got bored with it. All right, appreciate your comments. And Kara, pronunciations. Karagakure Seizu. Those last 3 chapters made the series go way more downhill than this entire arc. Partly I blame the publisher for this because they have told him to wrap this arc up in 3 weeks and just start working on those 6 chapters we'll be getting next week to make some magazine anniversary much more memorable. I assume nobody thinks he just started drawing them now and prepared 60 pages of content in 1 week's time. The publisher must be really betting everything on FT, but is it worth it? The chapter served as a summary of a really bad arc. I would like to underline that, what you just said right there, a whole lot, put flashing lights around it, and just agree with this more, even though you can't agree more than 100%. I would like to agree more than 100% with you saying this chapter served as a summary of a really bad arc. I really agree with it. If this is the ending, then this is a really bad arc. Alright, continuing on. Basing the main plot on time travel in the series right after it went through the time skip, which is itself gives the opportunity to reintroduce already known characters, introduce the entirely new characters, and display the world and changes that occur in the last 8 years. This is a bad idea at best. At the beginning of this arc, looked promising as it's going to be a real melting pot with the whole tournament, the mysterious power working behind the scenes of it, and on top of it, the Ivan Dreer thrown in there already, crowded bunch. As it turned out, this last one didn't serve practically any purpose, as Laxus took him down in one chapter along with his underlings, making him only a brief foreshadow the importance of the Luminous story for the future's arcs. My own opinion is here's a question. Did they just not go all out? Because I have a feeling they really didn't go all out. That's my own opinion. But anyway, I really agree with what you're saying here. Okay, and then you continue on. In the end of all those plots, we're dying out one after another, only to end up with a poorly written Catalyst antagonist in his final phase. That was really... My comfort pet died, and yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, yes. For weeks we got scraps of panel time with Dragon Slayers fighting dragons, one of them making a great entrance reappearance, only to reset this whole ordeal inconclusively, first time in FT. Anyway, next week we'll be getting a usual epilogue party chapter and 2 chapters, which will hopefully show us where the series will be setting its eyes now. Yes. Wow, you laid it out there pretty well. Yeah, we're gonna see. Now, look, I'm gonna keep covering Fairy Tail, and I know I've probably said this a couple times. I really like the series, the characters. I like most of what Hero's done in it, but I have to be honest with you. If this thing was over in like a 50 chapters or 100 chapters or whenever Fairy Tail's over, unless Hero can get some stability and consistency in what he's doing, as far as just me enjoying it, I'm not gonna. The series ends. I would not in any way automatically. I'd be really inclined not to pick up a new series that he's in. Listen, I know he does other stuff while he's doing this. I'm just really not inclined to look at anything else he's done. I mean, that's like I say, he's just too inconsistent. I'm hooked in this series. I'm not going anywhere. But to commit time with something that's that kind of crazy, I just don't see me doing it. But anyway, moving on. Although no one asked me that question, there's an answer. Okay, I really do appreciate Karagor Seizu, all your comments there. You made some very good points. Okay, Connolly Bob 9, always good to hear from you. Hopefully this is a natural dead spot in the series, but I tend to think it's more than that. I feel like FT started going on the decline toward the end of the Tenurajima and escalated during the tournament. Hero hasn't been at his best for a while, in my opinion, and I suspect that is because he's gotten more greedy, more concerned about yen, and less about quality. FT still has aspects that I enjoy, and I'm not going to drop it just yet. But it's never going to have as much quality as mangas like Naruto. In all, the whole time traveling thing was a timely mess, as time travel stories are often. You've gotten these big epic fights all set up, and then suddenly none of it ever happened and all the damage is done, gone. Probably not a good idea. I assume that Ultir lives again, since she's never had to sacrifice herself to save anyone. In any case, I don't really feel as disappointed with this chapter as I feel glad. Glad that this arc is finally over and we can move on. Another thing I liked was Rogue and Sting's realization about just how powerful a dragon is. Remember, this is a good point. This has been pointed out by a few people, and you're bringing it up now. Is just these dragon slayers are not really dragon slayers yet. This is some good stuff. That's actually a pretty good point. They have a long way to go. Remember how snooty they were because Natsu and Dragon Hill together couldn't kill Acnologia, which each of them had killed their own dragons. Then we learned these dragons were more like assisted. I think you've mentioned it this way before, actually. Assisted suicide. And now they've been taken to school on what fighting a dragon is really like. So karma kind of came and bit them in their respective posteriors. That's right, you two. Don't get cocky. As anticlimactic as it was, I'm kind of glad that none of the Slayers were able to beat a dragon on their own. It would have been BS because the dragons were so freakishly powerful. Slayer magic aside, they just aren't close to that level. I'm glad to see the friendship speeches and power-ups didn't save the day for once. It looks like if the Slayers want to slay dragons, they have to actually work hard to get stronger and not make speeches like they're freaking politicians. Or make friends with dragons. Evidently, make friends with dragons is what Natsu was able to destroy the gate, so that saved him. Friendship, the power of making a dragon your friend, actually was a factor here. The power of friendship did really save the day. So, sorry to have to put it out there, but there it is. Before the nitpicking begins, okay, a couple of things. One part of this chapter that might be important is when Atlas Flame spoke to Natsu about disappearing back to his time and said, "I will never forget you, Dragon Hill." Oh, you make some really good points right here. Assuming he really does remember, I'm wondering if it's sometime after Atlas returns to the past that he runs into Zeref, right? Tells Zeref about Natsu. And this is how Zeref first learns about Natsu. Awesome point here. Heck, maybe he even tells past Igneel about Natsu, the awesome stuff here you're putting out. And that's why he chose Natsu as his disciple in the future. I love what you're saying there. That is awesome. Well thought out. Really do appreciate it. As always, Conley Bottom 9. Okay. And Dr. Bukabu has several comments, which is fine. You got something to say, make several comments. Okay, let's go ahead and start. That's probably not the last time we'll deal with the time mess in Fairy Tail. I'm going to say, I've mentioned this before, I've been watching, I'm 47 years old, I've been watching a lot of TV and stuff. Very few forms of entertainment go into the time travel thing with any depth and don't just get burned by it. It just usually doesn't work out very well. Okay, I think that most people have made this observation already. Anyway, continuing on. Good points. If I get it right, the plans for the gate were in one of Zeref's spell books. So gates might have been built in other times. Here we go. Thanks, Zeref. Spawning demons and waves of death apparently isn't enough. We need more trouble. Future Lucy, for what I understand, is still dead, but now the gate's destroyed and the insurance, the worst future was prevented. Her spirit goes to heaven and meets her dead friends. I wonder about future Rogue, though. Did he go back to the correct future? And will he have two Rogues? Will they merge? Did he simply vanish? Apparently, we're in a stabilized time scenario, with the future having already occurred, but also with weird leftovers from the alternative timelines caused by the gate. Could be. It's more like the gate not only serves to get people to a different timeline, but it also to maintain them. Without the gate, they are forced back to their original time. I don't understand that, but what you're saying matches with what Hero's doing. We know that Lucy and Evil Rogue were cloaked in Zareth like magic from going through the gate. Maybe the magic was still at work and depended on the gate. We also witnessed how Zirconis got called the Jade Dragon, so the Zirconis spirit our heroes talked to earlier had already lived this and had safely returned to his time. We didn't think destroying the gate would rewind time. That's right, I didn't. And indeed, I don't think this is what happened. Only the time travelers are surrounded in light. Well, yeah, that's what happened. They were yanked back into their time. The city is still in ruins, so it's not like the time travelers are erased from the timeline. They are still present 5 or 10 minutes ago. And the consequences of them being there remain. Ultir shows us what rewind time is, and this is not. The characters have it all wrong. First of all, the chapter did confuse me, but I don't think Fairy Tail is currently in a dead spot or anything. I'm a little disappointed about the diary, though. Apparently future Lucy hadn't written anything interested in it, and now it's gone. I was expecting more from it. So, for what I can tell, there was just so many things for Carla's predictions and all. There was too much build up for this. Okay, anyway. So, for what I can tell, this is kind of a rule for Hero. No, this is an interesting stuff you're pointing out here. No happy, selfish sacrifice. When suicide or sacrifice occur, they are tragic. Speaking of Chapter 101, we get to see Igneel, and already mentions the upcoming Dragon King Festival, and again in 293. That's something that could deserve 6 chapters, wouldn't you think? And so everything crying, and so you're commenting. Okay, well anyway, I don't know if I'm doing this in the right order, but anyway. And so everything crying and said miserable. Thankfully, the Jalile had been able to prevent her from killing herself, and she realized she has to live for her friends and not die for them. When the Master attacked Acnologia head-on, he tried to pull out a heroic sacrifice cliché, and the other Fairy Tail members simply didn't allow it. Ultir also had tried to kill herself, but at the time, Meredy had been able to stop her. These are really good points you're making. Let me read your last comment, and I'll comment on that. Now I'd like to come back to something you mentioned. Okay, well, hold on. Actually, before we go that direction. Okay, that is a different... it's almost a, say, a Christian or Catholic perception of suicide. Okay, that suicide in and of itself is bad. It doesn't lead to a good result for the individual. So what you're making sounds pretty consistent, and it's a little different. You know that actually personal sacrifice may do some good, but it's not. It's not a good thing. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, you're making a very valid observation there. Okay, and then your last comment. Now I'd like to go back to something you mentioned in the last 2 of your comments. You compared Ultir's death to Ur's, and you were confused as to why Hero made those deaths so tragic instead of heroic, which I've already responded to your comments on that. I think this is something important Hero really wanted to bring out in this manga. It is best developed at the end of the chapter of Tower of Heaven arc, 99 to 101. Urza attempts to merge with the Like Rowena and allows the others to escape. She then had a vision of funerals. Okay, and then actually I'm reading not in the right order. I'm going, but anyway. So I've already reading your stuff, and I guess in the wrong order. Anyway, that was the last of the comments. Really good observations. And anybody listening to this, I am going to go ahead and cut this off, but you learn a lot. And look, and I miss things anyhow, okay? But you learn a tremendous amount, and I realize not everyone wants to read it, and this is a lot more convenient just to hear it or whatever, and just to kill some time. So that's what this is about. It's about having a lot of fun. It's a lot of time passed, but that's fun. As a matter of fact, anyone, as you've seen with a lot of times when people make longer comments, it's because they actually have a lot more to say, and that is awesome. I really do appreciate it. Okay, anybody can be an anime fan. Thumbs up would be cool. You can always subscribe. You can always unsubscribe. You can do anything you want to. Until next time, take care.